Happy with that. As you know, I always compliment on the weather or talk about the weather at the beginning of each segment, and today I'm happy to say that it's sunny again. As promised, and we highlighted this last week, we have Fall River dining and shopping to talk about today. A lot of people gave feedback of different areas, different regions, different types of cuisine they'd like to see, and Fall River was one of the biggest ones, and I'm happy to say that I've got a nice familiarization with Fall River. In full disclosure, I was able to work with the city last year and work with Mayor Carrera there and work on their branding campaign. So I spent a lot of time in Fall River working on that marketing and branding campaign for the city and have been to all of these destinations, all of these restaurants that I have joining me today. So the guest that I have is Victor's coming in from Sagres, a restaurant that's been around a very long time, very traditional. So I'm really excited to talk with him. I've got Andy coming in, and Andy opened up, I want to say 2016 if I remember correctly, the Abbey Grill, which is in a beautiful spot, and he's an Italian restaurant in Fall River, which is even better. And then Michael, who's actually going to be coming in shortly. He is with Portugali Marketplace. Now, Michael and I serve together on the committee, so I have a really good relationship with Michael. I've known him a long time, so I'm excited to have him here with me as well. And then my final guest today is going to be Chef Chris, who's coming in from Mesa 21. Now, if you saw the social media posts I had on there, and I know a lot of you were asking questions about their menu, it's more of an eclectic menu. We're going to have Chris talk about that. He's got some pizzas, he's got the Portuguese, he's got a lot of great stuff going on there as well. So each of these guests have got a unique perspective. I'm sure we're going to learn a lot. We're definitely going to smell some amazing dishes and hopefully taste some great wine, which I love to do. And then at the end, I'll talk about a little bit of the things that are coming up in the weekend, and you're also going to see me tomorrow. I'll highlight that at the end of the segment as well. Getting started, let me welcome in Victor DaSilva, who's the owner of Sagres. And he's got another dish to bring in. Look at this. Beautiful. My gosh. All right. We're not going to go hungry today with you here. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you for making the time to come in. Really glad to have you.
My pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Absolutely. So, reputation-wise, and I'm going to tell you right now, the food is already driving me crazy with the aromas here. So, before we get into the reputation and the great history and the things you got going on, tell us a little bit about what you brought here today.
I brought three very traditional dishes. One, it's relatively new that we've been making. This one here, which is the grilled octopus. This is something that we started a few years ago, and it's been incredible how much of a demand it is for the dish, even though it's not on the menu. So
Really?
I figured I'd bring it in. It's incredible. We have people from all over, everywhere, come in just eat that dish right there. It's really, really good. This is an old staple of the restaurant. It's very popular in Portugal because Portuguese food, we use, just like the Italians, a lot of salted cod, which is dried codfish. And that happens to be one of those. It's shredded salted cod. It has to be left in water so the salt comes out, and you cook it with olive oil, little garlic, some parsnips, and this is a little bit of egg on top that you see the yellow.
All right.
And this is something that my father introduced in 1976, which is one of the most popular dishes probably in all of the Portuguese restaurants. It's called pork and little necks, alentejano. Alentejano is a province in the southern Portugal, so it's named after that. It's right above Algarve. If you ever been to Portugal, it's Alentejo. So it's known from that region, and this was introduced by my father
Right.
in 1976 when he came over. And if you go to any restaurants in Portuguese restaurants anyway, you will see this dish on the menu.
So that's kind of a great segue, and Victor and I had the opportunity, obviously, to talk before this. And Sagres has been around an incredibly long time. I mean, you're more than a milestone. You're more than any of these restaurants. It's a big deal to get there. So you've set that milestone for the length of time, and it was founded by your father.
Yeah, exactly.
And you mentioned that this was a dish that was from that region, and I want to definitely talk about the regions and the authenticity and traditions. But tell us a little bit about how it was founded and a little bit about your dad, if you don't mind.
Yes, my father came over in 1975, which is right after the revolution in Portugal in '74. We used to have a fascist regime was taking over, got their independence, and things at the time were not very good, because you can imagine when the government gets overthrown, there's a lot of turmoil, everybody's on strike. The point is, he made it over here, and he actually started working in a restaurant that came here to go work in a coachman, which has been around for a long time in Tiverton. It's been closed for a long time also. But then after a couple of months, there was a restaurant opening in Fall River, which at the time there were none. So he went into work, and then he went up, keep buying the restaurant like a couple of months in.
Really? Just a couple months in. Now, your father also has this distinguished title to go with him. He's a master chef.
Yeah, my father was one of the top chefs in Portugal at the time when he came over. He worked in big hotels. It was all the top hotels in Portugal. He was As a matter of fact, I have this funny story. Right before he left, he was offered the position for the Casino Estoril, which is a very popular casino in Europe, and he's offered the head chef position there, but he had already made the decision to come here. So just to give an idea, pretty much how big of a chef and a cook he was.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about authentic, and you mentioned how this is some of the popular dishes, but
Right.
one of the things that was inspiring to me, besides the wine list, because everybody knows I'm a wine drinker, is that the authenticity and the traditions that are there, going back to the 70s, and you're saying how your father
Yes.
came over with his family, is that, you know, Portuguese food is a lot like other nationalities where it varies by the region.
Right.
You know, the type of
Right.
stuff. So you guys stay, it seems very true to the specific region
Right.
that you are from, right?
Right. Right. I mean, our cooking, our menu is basically a sample of every region because, and first of all, we also have a lot of different specials every day on the menu.
Right.
But the menu itself, the staple, to be honest, it's pretty much what it started a long time ago. We haven't changed much from it because we wanted to continue. What we have done is change. We do a lot of different specials during the day, which we introduce a lot of new stuff. As far as the region, as you know, Portugal, the number one food I guess we can say we eat in Portugal is fish.
Right.
This is what we're known for. Very healthy fish, various ways to cook, but most of the way we cook our fish, it's grilled. And the other thing is we tend to do a lot of fish that's fillets, which doesn't have any bones, which is what the majority of people here in the United States would prefer.
Right, it's enjoyable. That's,
Yes.
that's more the style
Right.
of this. So segueing into the wine list, and the setup is that the restaurant's recently had some renovations in the last couple of years,
Yes.
and you introduced the bar is beautiful, and
Right.
I mean, even if you go on their website, you see the bottles displayed, which you
Right.
have there.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your beverage program, because you brought a bottle of wine here today. So what'd you bring here today?
This is also from, believe it or not, from the same region, Alentejo. Alentejo makes very, very, very good wines in southern Portugal. It's, I think Portugal exports more of the Douro, which is where all the port region is. They've turned
Yep.
a lot into, it used to be a port, but now it's a lot of red wines. They're making great wines. But this happens to be from the south, again, Alentejo. It's a
Okay.
dry.
We're gonna have
I'll
to
pour you
try
a
it.
little
Yeah,
bit.
we're
I'm
gonna have
sorry.
to try that. No. We're gonna try. So port has been a big thing of mine. You've heard me talk about port a lot over various
Yes.
episodes. So obviously I like Portuguese wines as well as port.
Yes.
Cheers, Victor. Thank you for making it in today and joining me.
It's my pleasure. Once again, thank you very much for inviting me.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. That is absolutely delicious.
Portuguese wines are very full-bodied. It needs a little bit to breathe.
Yeah,
It's a
but it's
great wine.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful wine. So in the renovations and the things that you did over
Right.
the last couple of years, the restaurant's had this progression obviously over the 70s.
Right.
And you added something that's become rather popular. You added an event space.
Yes, we first of all have to explain what happened to
course,
the restaurant.
yeah.
We had been in the same building for 30, almost 40 years because we had a fire which happened 4.5 years ago. We were closed for 2 years, and we had to build a brand new building. When we were able to build a brand new building, it's a beautiful building, but it gave us an opportunity to be able to do a second floor where we can have functions now, which is very important. And we didn't finish when we opened because, as you understand, it's not very easy to get the building like that open right away with everything going.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan was to open the first floor, which is when you come in, you see the beautiful lounge in the back, plus a dining room.
Right.
And the second floor is a beautiful function room, which we opened about 6 months ago.
So that's really 6 months is brand new, and in
Right.
Fall River to be able to have another event space is a great thing because you
Right.
guys are drawing more and more people in. What's the capacity on the function room?
We have 2 rooms. We have one room that's for 125. It's for 145, but we tried it 125 the most. And we have a smaller room, which is perfect for small gatherings. It takes about 30, 35.
So 2 different rooms.
Yes.
That's perfect.
We have the kitchen on the second floor, which makes it a lot easier for us now.
Oh, absolutely, to service the events, that's
Yes.
fantastic. And from a draw standpoint, and this is one of the things I was getting a lot of questions, or not questions, a lot of compliments, I should say, on my instant messaging of people saying that when they come to visit Massachusetts or Rhode Island, they make you guys one of the stops to come over to see.
Thank
Your
you.
draw is from all over the place, it's not.
Yes, a lot of it has to do with we had a lot of big articles about the restaurant on the old restaurant. We had on the Financial Times of London, which is a big.
Yeah.
We had a big article on American Airlines, an in-flight magazine. One of those when you sit on the plane, you open the magazine, and we have the itinerary to visit Boston. And one of the places was Fall River, The article was
Yep.
itinerary where to go when you visit Boston. One of them was Fall River, and it happened. And
Funny.
it was a big article about the restaurant. But besides that, we've also had a lot of them. And the other thing, I think it's because we've been in business for so long, and I think it just helps to grow and create more.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got different generations now that are coming over to you.
Yes, I mean, yeah, it's very true. One thing I noticed now, it's funny, like when I finished college, I started working there, I was like 20-some years old. I'm not going to see my age. But I see all these are adults now, they used to come in with their parents when they were young, and
Right.
it's really, truly magnificent. It's incredible. It's
And
an
I
incredible
think-
feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's kudos to you guys because you've kept that reputation and that tradition going for that length of time. I
Right.
mean, some of the messages I had was from friends of mine that are in New York, and they, they're like, they
Yeah,
said, when
yeah,
we're
I
in Fall
mean,
River, we go to there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the one when the Financial Times, I had people like a lot of writers from Washington Post, New York, because I guess all the writers know the reason. Actually, the article wasn't about the restaurant; it was to interview someone there. But he loved the restaurant so much, and even put the whole menu on the article. So it's stuff like that. It's what it is really. To be honest with you, it's a lot. It's just all the work that we put in. I mean, I'm there. Me and my brother were there every day. We only close on Mondays, and we're there every day. So you have to put in a lot of time and effort.
The restaurant business is definitely all-consuming, for sure.
It's very, 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 very demanding.
It's all
very
consuming.
demanding.
And from a Rhode Island standpoint, I mean, and I know we cover beyond Rhode Island, but a lot of you were mentioning, okay, this is very quick, it's easy to get to.
Right.
I have a lot of friends that go there. I want to give a shout out to Brian and Brian Sawyer, and he was making a lot of recommendations for me and giving comments on it. So
Thank
a
you
lot
very
of
much.
people were saying that it's, I mean, not just from Providence, but other parts of Rhode Island. If you're in Tiverton or if you're
Right.
down in that area, Little Compton, to get over to you, it's very quick and easy.
Yes, now with the highway, all the ramps are finished. It's very easy to get there.
So if you had to think back, and I know your father started this,
Right.
and you said you came over when you were 27, would you have thought that you would be where you're at today and the Fall River as a city would be where it's at today?
No,
I mean,
I have to. I'm sorry, correct. I was 12 years old when I came here. I was 12.
well, yeah, when you came, but at the restaurant, you said you went back to the restaurant when you
I
were 20.
was right after college.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
when-
yeah.
So would you think that Fall River would be where it's at today as this dining destination and continuing to evolve? I mean, you've been there a long time.
I think yes, we've been. And the reason why we decided to build there, we had a lot of people telling us we should build somewhere else because, why are you going to make this investment in the middle of Columbia Street? And why? I mean, everyone was like, you should be building somewhere else. You do a lot more and this and that and the parking and all that. But no, we made a commitment because it was important for us to build in Fall River because this is where I have to say I grew up, and I know that for the area we built, including the church and it was very important to build there because I think the street, and you could see without the restaurant, that area was not the same.
Right.
People really wanted us, and we did it because it wasn't just because of us, but I think it was important for the city. As far as the city, yeah, there's a lot of potential in the city, but we've been talking about that potential for years. So
Right.
we have to do. I know we do our end. We work hard. We there, and just try to do the best we can.
And I think that, again, to your credit, is I think your length of time, your commitment to it has helped others, like some of these other guests I have come in, want to continue to evolve and be a part of
Right.
Fall River. And your
Right.
current mayor there has done a tremendous amount to
Right.
bring the city's image
Right.
up as
There's
well.
no doubt about that. He's always trying to do something to bring more into the
Recognition,
city
yeah.
recognition because we need it. Fall River is an old textile city, as we know, and I think in some ways we can grow on that.
Yeah.
We can't get away from where we were once. We have to build on it, I think.
No, and the city's definitely come a long way. And again, I think to all of you guys that are joining me today, it's a credit to you of what you evolved and made Fall River to be. And like I said, a short drive from Providence and even shorter drive from other parts of Rhode Island. So again, congratulations
Right.
to you guys and wish you continued success on it. And
Thank you.
thank you for making the time
Thank
to
you.
join us today.
I just want to say
Of
also
course, go
something.
ahead.
Thank you very much.
My
First of all, it's a
What else?
pleasure.
What-
I just want to say thank you. I know we're talking about we've been in business for all these years and all of it. More important than anything is that our clients, our customers, our friends, they're the reason why we built the restaurant and they're the reason why the restaurant is what it is. So I just want to make that known.
No,
It's-
that's
without the people, nothing works.
Well, and and it's vice versa. Is that from the things that I've heard and from my seeing there is that your clientele appreciates you. And
Thank
they
you very
appreciate
much.
the fact that you've continued this tradition the way that you have. So
Appreciate
they
it.
appreciate you thanking them, and I'm positive that they would thank you as well.
Thank you very much.
So
Thanks,
again,
thanks for having me once again.
And wonderful dishes. So I look forward to coming to see you and sitting down and enjoying more wine over there.
And I'll drink a little more.
I
My pleasure.
yeah, sit with me and
My
drink
pleasure.
some more.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
Thank
All
you.
right, so Taylor's going to help you, and Christina. Christina's here now.
I'm done.
Beautiful. We're gonna help you
Alright.
carry some of this out. The wine's not going anywhere. I'll finish this in a little
I
bit.
don't know. You want to keep the food? You can keep the food because.
They'll work with you out there when you get
Alright.
there. I'm sure
Alright,
somebody
good.
will
It's
eat some
out
of
here.
this good stuff. All right. So it's kind of important what Victor added at the end there about the customers make the restaurant, and we talk about this in Rhode Island restaurants all the time that we